Hello everyone, welcome to Educhemy's YouTube channel, myself Karuna Mishra, and today I will be concluding my government scheme series for the agriculture sector, and we will be starting with the finance schemes from now on. In my agricultural schemes series today, we will be taking up 3 prelims questions, all from the year 2020, only related to 2 to 3 schemes which we are going to study today, just to give you an idea the importance of this area, so that before you prelims you do not miss out on this. The first scheme which I am going to do is my minimum support price. If you're following news, newspaper, anything, you know there is a lot of tussle going on between the farmers, the farmer association and the government, wherein the government is trying to introduce a bill which involves private players and procurement, and the farmers are saying that if you introduce these bills, I will lose on my MSP and I need MSP for my sustenance, because it is nothing but an assurity that even if the market prices are low, I will get a certain amount for my produce. So let us start with the first question, and then we will see what exactly is the whole issue regarding my MSP, which is the first scheme which I am going to do. The second scheme which I am going to do is PM Asha, which can be understood from MSP, which is a continuation of it. And then I will be talking about subsidies in fertilizers, and one of the great achievements of IFFCO. We'll be covering all of that along with 2 more previous year questions at the end of the video. So let us start with the first one, which says that which of the following policies were affecting the price of rice in India in the recent past. Now this is your 2020 question. It talks about the factors or policies about the pricing of a crop. It talks about whether it is my minimum support price, is it my government trading, is it my government stockpiling, or my consumer subsidies. So this is related to the policies. There are different subsidies which government gives. Then this is about the minimum support price, again the minimum support price policy. This is related to my FCI, this is related to my NAFED. Now I will not even go into the options. Let me first understand what all these are and what are the policies, then I will revisit this question and see whether I am able to answer it or not. If you know the answer, give the answer in your comment section. Coming to my first policy, which is my minimum support price. Now I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Mother India, but minimum support price can be understood from that movie, in which there was a small family, there was a hardworking mother, she had 2 children, she used to work on farm, but when it came, even after a good produce, it was whether or not she was getting the right amount for it. Right? So my government of India recognized the problem and said that there will be no more Mother Indias and we will be giving you the fair prices. So in order to know who is going to give the fair prices, I should know the agency. The agency here is that it is my Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. There are 2 agencies involved. The first one is my Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, that is my CCEA, on the recommendations of Commission on Agricultural Cost and Pricing. Just remember these 2 agencies, they are the ones which are involved in the calculation. Which government is responsible? Of course, the central government. All the 3 schemes that I am talking about are central government schemes. I will be taking a separate video on what schemes are central government schemes, what are centrally sponsored schemes, and what are state schemes, so that you know there is a lot of confusion among the students. Anyways, so my agencies is my CCEA, then my Commission on Agricultural Cost and Pricing. The factors for pricing are cost of production, intercrop parity, demand supply, effect of industrial cost and cost of living, and of course the international prices, because you have to show your face in WTO also. So all of these come within the factors. What? Production, intercrop parity, that within the crops also one should not have a lot of cost and the other should not lag behind. Demand supply, of course, industrial cost and cost of living, and of course the international pricing. Now coming to the calculation. The calculation part is interesting here. In calculation I have to remember 3 things, that is A2, FL and C2. Do not go into their details because you're not giving an economics paper. For GS, I should know what is my A2. My A2 is the expenditure on inputs. Farmers, purchasing seeds, fertilizer, pesticides. That is my A2 method. That is my expenditure on the input. I have procured it. This is the expenditure. Second is my A2 plus FL. My A2 plus FL is the implied cost of family labor. My mother is involved, Birju is involved, Raju is involved. All three people, their family labor is calculated within my A2 plus FL method. The third one being the C2 method. The C2 method is the final or the actual cost, which is the cost of production when it comes to the agricultural activity, and it is the C2 on which the MSP is calculated. Now my government in December announced that I will give my farmers 1.5 times the MSP which they were receiving because of the backlash they were getting from the farmers' protest. So when I say 1.5 times of MSP, I am talking about 1.5 times of C2 which the farmers are going to get in the increased minimum support price. Apart from that, even for the forest produce, for my minor forest produce, it is my TriFed along with the Ministry of Tribal Affairs which is going to recommend the prices. It covers all the state and 50 plus products are part of my minimum support price. So from this I need to know the two agencies, extremely important. Apart from that, I need to know that what is exactly C2, and I need to know that what are the factors which are involved, and of course it is a central sector scheme, so this concludes my minimum support price. Alright, so my second scheme is PM Asha, Pradhan Mantri Annadata Aay Sanrakshan Abhiyan. It is by my Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. What is the goal? To ensure minimum support price to farmers. Now what does Sanrakshan means? Sanrakshan means protection. Who am I protecting? Birju. Who is Birju? My farmer who labored the entire year, but when it came to selling his product, he could not sell it on MSP, he had to sell it below MSP, and now he is suffering. So what is government saying? Beta, don't worry, I have three options for you. Which is my first option? My first option is Price Support Scheme or the PSS. What am I going to do? I'll tell my two agencies. What are my two agencies? NAFED and FCI. I'll tell my agencies that go purchase pulses, oilseeds, copra. Again, what three? Pulses, oilseeds, copra, these three products from the farmer, and in return give him the MSP price. Now what is happening here is, this is done by my central government and the physical procurement is being done by FCI and NAFED. Again, only for these three crops. Coming to my second mechanism is my PDPS system, in which Price Deficiency Payment Scheme. The oilseeds are procured by recognized mandis. Now these mandis are not going to give the MSP to the farmer. No, they are going to give him the selling price, that is the market price in that area. These mandis are recognized by my central government. Again, this is all central government related. My center recognizes this mandis. These mandis, they take the produce from my farmer, and the gap is MSP minus the selling price. That gap is directly transferred to the farmer's account by my central government. Again, this is only for the oil seeds. The second scheme is also only for the oil schemes. The first one was pulses, oil seeds and copra, in which I was giving MSP. Who was giving MSP? FCI and NAFED. Here the difference is being paid by my government. No physical procurement is taking place. In the first scheme, the physical procurement was taking place. Alright. Coming to my third mechanism is my triple PS or the pilot of private procurement and stockist scheme, something which is in question now. So what am I doing? I'm picking selected private agencies. These are recognized agencies. They will be purchasing again what? Oil seeds from the farmer, and in return they will give the MSP. But you have to understand, these are private players and they are giving farmer more money than the market or the prevailing price. So the gap, who is going to compensate the gap? It is the union government, but there's a catch. You're not giving the difference as you were doing in the previous scheme. You are rather paying them 15% of the MSP as the service charge which government is giving to this private agency. So this private agency shall charge 15% of MSP from the government, and the government shall give it to the agency. The agency will give farmer the MSP price and purchase oil seeds from him or her. Here physical procurement is taking place, but the physical procurement is not taking place by my central government or any other government, it is by a private entity. Alright, so in first scheme, my FCI and NAFED was doing the physical procurement for pulses oilseed copra, giving the farmer the MSP. Fine. In my second scheme, I was doing procurement of oil seeds. Who was doing it? Recognized mandis, and they were giving the farmer the selling price, and the gap between the MSP and the selling price was directly transferred to my farmer's account by whom? By the central government. In my third scheme, I have involved a private player. In my triple PS scheme, in my private player scheme, I am purchasing oil seeds. In all the three schemes, one is common, that is my oil seeds. I am purchasing oil seeds from the farmer, giving that farmer the MSP, and the government will compensate the loss in the form of 15% of MSP in the service charge. Now here there is no surety that you will recover. Sometimes it can be more also, it can be less also, but this criteria is fixed. So this was about your MSP and the other three options which government is giving in case the farmer is not able to sell his or her produce at the MSP price. So my third scheme is my fertilizer subsidies. Again, very important area for your prelims, mains, and it can be understood by this beautiful story which is why fertilizer subsidy is there anyways. So it all happened in the 70s. In the 70s, there was a lot of crisis in the Gulf. So I had oil crisis in the Gulf. So I know that I need petroleum and petroleum products for my manufacturing sector, especially my fertilizers, pesticides, etc. So since my oil and petrol was on a higher side of the pricing, the overall manufacturing became costly, and the overall product, which is my fertilizer, it became very costly. So since my fertilizer became very costly, the consumption of fertilizer decreased. Now if the consumption of the fertilizer is decreasing, the overall productivity in the agriculture was decreasing, and there were food crises in this time. So in 1977, I started subsidizing the manufacturing of fertilizer, and it became such a success that by 1992, I decontrolled the import of complex fertilizers except urea, and now it is extensively provided to the farmers. So let us understand the nutrient based fertilizer subsidy, which is a first part of my scheme. So my government gives me a fixed rate of subsidy on each nutrient from the phosphate and the potash family. Now my nitrogen, phosphate, potash and sulfur are the important ingredient, and on each of these nutrients I am getting a subsidy. It is applicable to 22 fertilizers other than urea. Again, urea is not included within this. So my next subsidy is my urea subsidy, again a central sector scheme from the Department of Fertilizers. What am I doing? I am statutorily controlling the price of urea. I am including the price of freight also within my subsidy, because the movement of urea is across the country. I am including that price also. Apart from that, this is one observation which was found, that urea actually gets wasted more in our country than being used for agriculture. Now out of all the urea subsidy which I give out, 24% of it is used in inefficient production, 41% is for non-agricultural uses, and 24% of the urea subsidy is benefiting the rich farmers. So the whole purpose of giving these subsidies, so that the subsistent farming or the small farmers can benefit, somewhere gets defeated when I look at these parameters. However, the MRP is decided considering the international as well as the national or domestic prices of these fertilizers. So this is about my urea subsidy. Now coming to an achievement by IFFCO, a government agency. What is the achievement? That IFFCO is the first agency in the world to produce nano urea liquid for the farmers. Now nano urea liquid has a lot of benefits over your normal urea. It has reduced the input cost to a considerable amount. it will help in increasing farmers' income, it has enhanced crop productivity, and it is environment friendly. So these are the major features which is part of my NUL. Apart from that, it is 80% more effective on the conventional urea. So overall productivity of my nano urea liquid is high. Apart from that, my neem coated urea has also been asked my prelims exam. So what is my neem coated urea having a benefit over urea is, it promotes a balanced use of fertilizers, and now government has made it mandatory for all the domestic producers of urea to produce my neem coated urea. So these were the three schemes which we have covered. Let us go to the question. The question talked about which of the following policies are affecting the rice in India. Is minimum support price affecting it? Yes. Is the government trading? Of course. It is the trading by the government, how much government is paying for a particular crop also affects the overall, because that is considered as the base price by a lot of agencies, and even for the market it is the MSP which is kind of a benchmark. So that is true. The stockpiling by the FCI also affects, and of course the subsidy also. So the answer to this question is all of them affect the overall price of rice. Coming to other question, in India, which of the following can be considered as a public investment in agriculture? So public investment, the first one is fixing minimum support price for agricultural produce of all crops, computerization of primary agricultural credit society, computerization. Third, social capital development. Fourth, free electricity supply of farmers. 5, waiver of agricultural loans. 6th, setting up of cold storage facilities by the government. I think out of all of these, one area where there might be a confusion is about the electricity supply. About the electricity supply here is kind of a subsidy, and my subsidy can never be considered as an investment. Rather, it is part of my revenue expenditure. Any kind of subsidy is an expenditure and not an investment. So 4 cannot be there. Alright. So I see that what are the options in which I have 4. So B eliminated, D eliminated. Now I am left with A and C. Now let us check my 6th option. My 6th option says that setting up of cold storage facility. What is a cold storage facility? It is an infrastructure where the farmers can bring their perishable and other products. They can store them there, and then further it can go to the market. So it is basically a kind of infrastructure. Whenever there is an infrastructure building, it is part of the investment. So my option 6 is correct. That makes my option C is correct, which is 2, 3 and 6. Of course 2, which is computerization, and social capital development are of course the investment, because as you can see from the name. Coming to why 1 cannot be an answer, fixing minimum support price is not an investment. It is not an investment. MSP again is an expenditure on the government. So this is a question which was asked in the year 2020. So we have seen that question. Now coming to next question, which is considering the following statement, in case of all cereals, pulses and oil seed, the procurement at minimum support price is unlimited in any state and union territory. Unlimited. Second is, in case of cereals and pulses, the MSP is fixed in any state or union territory at a level to which market price will never rise. Now first of all, these statements are having extreme words in it. Whenever there is an extreme word, it generally is not the right answer. Apart from that, we have seen also all cereals and pulses and all seeds on the minimum supports. No, we have seen that it is focusing on the oil seeds where the procurement at MSP is must. So this is wrong. Apart from that, in case of cereals and pulses, the MSP is fixed in any state and the market price will not rise. This is not true. The market price is not controlled by the MSP. MSP can be a factor but will never rise, cannot be true. So this is also incorrect. My answer is neither 1 nor 2. So these were 3 questions only from these 3 areas which we have covered today, 3 agricultural schemes. Just to give you an idea, do revise your schemes and then try to attempt your previous year questions, and then try to attempt even the probable questions, and let us know if you need any help with that. So this is all from the agricultural schemes part. I'll be coming again with the finance schemes. Till then, keep studying. All the best for your prelims. Happy learning. Thank you so much.